Pisces, this is your May tarot reading. Just quickly looking at it, it appears to be about money. Money appears to be very important in this. And, many signs during March and April are going to have a loss of money, and I think you are probably a part of that, and that's why it's so important to you. In fact, bottom right, you can see the Nine of Cups there. It's you looking back on the past as a time of plenty, as a golden era. And that's very common with many signs at the moment. They're looking to the past as though it was wonderful, and they're not seeing as bright a future. They're more concerned about the future. Nevertheless, the universe is saying to you, look, just be happy, just count your blessings. Enjoy the companionship of others, because you look at that central card, the Three of Cups. It's about celebrating, it's about enjoying life, and if you can enjoy life and somewhat let go of your worries, then I think the universe is saying everything's going to be all right. But you certainly are concerned about things. Your current energy is that of the Eight of Swords. That's self-imposed restrictions. Now, I don't know what you're restricting, but it could be something to do with... I don't know what it is. In the near future, we have the Ace of Wands. I think that means you want something to happen, but I'm not too certain that you know what you want to happen. But you're anxious for something. The energy that leads to the outcome is the Four of Pentacles, and that's you being a little bit miserly. Now, I'd normally see that as a negative, but I actually think that maybe now is the time to be saving your money a little, because we don't know what the future will hold. Now, what would change the outcome is the Queen of Pentacles, who I always call the single mother card, and then I turn around and say you don't have to be female and you don't have to be a parent, but you've got obligations that you're worrying about. Now, that would seem to be money, but is this also about love? It could be, going back to that first card, the Nine of Cups, they're by themselves. Could be. I mean, it could be that you literally are a single parent. Yeah. Anyway, the outcome, and she would change the outcome, so I don't quite understand that, but the outcome is the Six of Swords, which is you moving on and dumping baggage. So there's definitely stuff that you need to move on from, that you need to release from your life. I think it's about money, but I mean, it could also be about money and love, and many people, many signs have had that during this month, that it's a sort of an interplay of money and love, so I wouldn't be surprised. But hey, we've got to look at this a bit more fully. So the overall energy running through this entire reading, and I think this is highly significant, is a Three of Cups, which is a card of celebration, probably with friends, it could be family, but it's about letting go, having a good time, finding happiness. And I think that's important, because there's no doubt that what's going on in the world at the moment is not a happy time. And I don't think you're happy. I think probably in March or April you lost some money. Most signs did. And this is just saying, hey, let go. Just enjoy what there is to be enjoyed in life. That's my candid opinion on what it's about. And it runs throughout the whole thing. And I think it's highly significant. And it's a feeling I've been getting from a number of signs, particularly during May, that the worst is over and now is time to let your hair down. And now, in your recent past, we have the Nine of Cups. Now, Most signs have got a very positive recent past, and it's as though we're all looking back to the past as a golden age. And we sort of know that the past is never going to come back. We can't turn the clock back. We've been through some very bad times, very, very dark times. But I do believe that by May they're over. So are you simply reminiscing about the past? I mean, the Nine of Cups suggests many blessings. But if you look at him, he is all alone. Is it that you've been feeling lonely? I mean, it could be. There are some indications that you lost a love or lost a family, or maybe bringing up a family by yourself. There are certainly some indications of that. Can you hear that in the background? That's a tomcat we're looking after who's decided that it's his right to impregnate our elderly cat, Molly, who she's already had stillbirth as a result of him, and he wants more, and poor Molly, it might kill her, you know. I'm sure there's a message in that somewhere for you, but I'm not too certain what it is. Now, there's definitely something from the past that's affecting you, and affecting you in a negative way, because your current energy is the Eight of Swords, which is you putting up barriers. What are you putting up barriers to? Well, there's a number of things it could be. It could be to love, because I do get the impression that you're all alone. Maybe, as I say, bringing up a family. Is it a barrier to money? You know, many people have lost money recently. Have you? And are you moping around with, you know, oh dear, I've lost all this money, what I'm going to do? Well, that won't attract any more. Now, you know, as you may know, I'm no great fan of the law of attraction, but there is something in it. So you've got to find happiness, which indeed, you know, the Three of Cups is all about, you know. I don't want to say snap out of it, because that's a dreadful thing to say, but you know what I mean. You do need to find happiness. So you're restricting something. Or is it that you are just seeing the changes going on in the world and you don't like them? Well, none of us do. But what I can tell you is we are heading for a much better place. It might take a while, but we are heading there. There's great hope, really. Now, your future energy is that of the Ace of Wands. Now, I think this is referring to the fact that you want something to happen. You don't probably quite know what it is you want to happen, but you want something to happen. Because I certainly do. You know, I've not been allowed to leave the island of Java for 3 years. I've not been allowed in shopping centres for much of that 3 years. I've not been allowed to use public transport. I've had a whole pile of restrictions, and still on the MRT in Jakarta, I have to wear a mask, and I'm not allowed to speak to anybody else. And I've more than had enough, you know. Deep down inside, I want retribution, even though I know I shouldn't. But I want something to happen. I'm not quite sure what I want to happen. I don't want to see necessarily those responsible hanging from trees, but, you know, I want something to change, and to change quickly, because of things have been terrible for most of us. You know, I'll never forget being denied a vaccine that I didn't want in the first place, but I had to have in order to visit my dying mother, and knowing that my mother would probably die before I could get to see her. This madness has to end, and we all know it, and I think that's what you feel. Now, the energy leading to the outcome is a Four of Pentacles. Now, we've had this card for a few signs in this position, And normally I'd say it's you being miserly. Well, it is. It's you being a bit tight with your money. Look at it. You know, he's even standing on money to stop people from getting it. But maybe given all that's happened in the world, that's a reasonable reaction. Just hang on to your money for the time being and see what the lie of the land is. You've probably already lost some, and you don't want to lose any more. None of us do. But I promise you there's better times coming. I promise you. So this might not be a bad thing to be doing. And I don't think it is, to be honest. Now, what would change the outcome? And I don't quite understand why, but it's the Queen of Pentacles. Now, I always say, and in fact I always add this, that I call her the single mother card, but you don't have to be female and you don't have to be a parent, but you've got dependencies. But if you remember, the recent past was the 9 of Cups, and I said he was all alone. Have you been left all alone? Have you been left all alone with dependencies? I somehow get the impression that maybe you were never even together, that this really is a single mother card. But that's just the energy, if you see what I mean. But I think you are finding it a financial struggle, as we all are. And if you dwell on the struggle, then I don't think you'll make progress. Whereas if you're just careful with your money, but celebrate and have fun where you can while being careful, I think there is a much better world, not only for you, but for all of us. The outcome is a great outcome, I believe, or at least I believe in times like this. It's the 6 of Swords, and that's about you moving on. And you look at it, they're in that boat, going across a lake. So they're moving to the other side of the lake, but almost certainly they've got some sort of a packet in, some sort of a parcel, if you like, in that boat. And in the middle of the lake, they're going to throw it over. And that's you dumping baggage. And that's what you're being asked to do, and I think that's what we all need to do. So you heard my little rant about me not being able to leave the island of Java. I mean, I did eventually get to see my mum, but not die, that is. But not without massive problems. Nobody deserves to be put through what I was put through. And yeah, retribution would be nice, but we've just got to dump the baggage. We've just got to say, well, it was one of those times. We'll learn from it, don't get me wrong, but retribution isn't going to help. And I don't know what this is about. I mean, have you been wronged by someone? Are you a single parent, you know? Is that the baggage you need to dump? Have you, like so many of us, lost money during the financial crisis? Sorry, financial crisis. What's going to happen in April and March? What's happening in April and March? I don't know, but you've got to forgive and forget, but that doesn't mean... Sorry, you've got to forgive, but that doesn't mean forget. Let's get some clarity. And what I'd like clarity on is these self-imposed restrictions, this 8 of Swords. What are you restricting and why? Well, the first card is the Chariot, so it's suggesting to me you're restricting yourself from moving forward, which I think we all are. The next card is the 9 of Swords. You're worried. You're worried about the future. Again, we all are. We're restricting what we're doing because we're worried about the future. And the final card is the King of Cups. Are you restricting yourself in love? Because he is the King of Love. Very loving, very emotional person. He knows he's somebody who gets taken for a ride. Very interesting, isn't it? First card of clarity is the Chariot. This is a card of direction, this is a card of balance, this is a card of fast movement. So I think you're restricting yourself from doing what you'd really like to do. Now, you remember my rant about the Ace of Wands, which is you seeking action. And you do seek action in the future, so you overcome this, but you don't quite know what action you want. And I think that's it. I think it might not be about the health crisis and what happened to you. It might be entirely personal about why you're a single parent, if indeed you are, or why you've lost money, if indeed you have. But yeah, you're wanting to do something, but you're just sitting on your hands at the moment. And I think it's because, like me, you don't quite know what you can do. You can have a little grumble as you're reading tarot, but I don't know as it'll do any good. Yeah. And the next indication that it's something quite dramatic that's gone on is this Nine of Swords. This is you having nightmares. You're laying awake at night, worried about things. Now, I could glibly say, well, aren't we all? Isn't this what's going on in the world? And maybe it is. You see, maybe... if I'm right, you're a single parent. Maybe you do feel aggrieved by the other parent, but somehow I don't think there was ever a relationship there. No, I think you just feel aggrieved by the situation you're in. I've recently had my Royal Bank of Scotland bank account closed after over 35 years with them. And, Royal Bank of Scotland, to put it bluntly, caused the financial crisis in the UK, which caused an end to my business. And, that was, 15 years ago. And I've never really earned any money since that date. I just commented. There was a vlog on Royal Bank of Scotland and how it had caused the crisis. And I just commented, well, look, this is what's happened to me, and now they've closed my bank account. And, I won't say I'm understanding and forgiving about the crisis, but what I can't forgive is them closing my bank account. After all the damage they've done to me, they then closed my bank account. And there was no reason to, there was money in it, there was no reason whatsoever. Just sheer bloody-mindedness on their behalf. And I think that's what you feel aggrieved about. It's nothing in particular you can put your finger on. You just feel hard done by and you're worried. Where's the world going? Because of all of us seem to increasingly face these unjust, downright inhuman actions that seem to come out of the blue and hit us, don't they? Yeah. Now, let me just prefix this next card by saying, yes, I do feel aggrieved by Royal Bank of Scotland. I do feel hard done by. But I don't really want retribution. There is forgiveness in my heart. But it would be nice if I thought that Fred Goodwin was now suffering the same sort of financial hardship that I am. Now, that's not retribution. That's just a fairness, a level playing field that I'd call for. And you need to find forgiveness, you need to find love in your heart, and remember that the energy running through this was about happiness and having a good time. So whatever this reading has really been about, you do need to find love in your heart and to move on, and I think you do. It's said that you've got baggage to dump, and we're not certain what this baggage is. It feels to me like it's multiple things, It's not that you can say, well, it's this person that did me wrong or that person that did me wrong. And, if life is getting harder, full stop, life is becoming much more controlled by psychopaths. then all our lives are getting more and more difficult, and we're blaming others more and more without really seeing what's going on in the world, that it's becoming a nastier place. And the only answer to that is love, and we have the King of Love here. The only answer is love. Pisces, this is an interesting reading to say the least. There's something that's troubling you, there's no doubt about it, but I think it's probably multiple things. And I've often said in May, is what's happening to you personal, or is it global events, or a mixture of the two? And I'm certain in your case it is this mixture, and you probably can't even put your finger, even though you might blame this person, blame that person, what have you. You probably can't even say, well, you know, this is what's wrong. There's multiple things that are wrong, and you know it. And you look towards the past as something of a golden age. But even in the past, you know, I think you were by yourself. You had many blessings. Maybe they were monetary blessings. But I think you're all alone. Having said that, there is an indication that maybe you're a single parent. But I'm not too certain you were ever in a loving family situation. I think you, no, let's not make up a story about that. But, you know, so when I say you're on your own, maybe on your own with dependents. And you're certainly putting up barriers. Why are you putting up barriers? You're putting up barriers because you really, really want to do something. You want to act, but you don't know how to act. You really don't know, and you're a little bit worried about what you should do. You're worried about the future. We're all worried about the future. You're worried about the future, yeah. One of the things you can do is at least not spend too much money. You may, like most signs, have lost some money in March and April, and you might be feeling the pinch. Certainly, if I'm right that you have dependents, you might be struggling a bit. So don't spend too much money, but you need to have a good time. You need to enjoy yourself. You need to find that love back in your life. And whatever it is that you feel aggrieved about, just dump it. Just move on. Just move on and dump it. And you'll be much happier that way. Don't keep going over the past. Don't keep looking for retribution. Just dump the baggage, move on and find happiness. And, you know, yeah, okay, money might be tight, but it doesn't stop you enjoying the company of family and friends. It doesn't stop you from enjoying the good things in life. Because the good things in life, they're not about spending a lot of money, you know. We've been brainwashed that we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. The only thing we need is love. Love's all that matters.